So we're here at Next Berlin at the Deutsche Telekom booth here. And, what are you showing here?
We show that behind the development around digitizing payment and other payment functionalities, security functionalities that can be done with the near-field communication technology, there is a platform and an ecosystem developing that can be opened up to many, many different kinds of applications, services, and make them all more secure and very, very convenient.
So what's the status right now with NFC and Deutsche Telekom and mobile payments? How much is there and how much is going to be next year?
I can't comment on the current state of the product development so much, but we at the R&D facilities of Deutsche Telekom Innovation Laboratories, have worked on this topic for quite a few years, and we can say we are on the way to deliver every part that's needed to start the ecosystem up. It will naturally start with payment services and gradually become more and more open, become more and more versatile, and what we show here is in how far a really big ecosystem could be built to make use of this technology development.
So NFC is not really new, right? I mean,
no.
For example, the Oyster card in England is using NFC, no?
Right,
and,
right.
How old is this technology?
Basically, I think it's about 10 years ago that for the first time in Japan, NFC got used. The technology they used in Japan at that time is not secure enough to be used for example, payments, especially not here in Europe. So the issuers wouldn't accept it. Now we have a certain maturity and we know the technology is okay, but it's still pretty hard to get all the devices into it, so the terminal device manufacturers need to introduce NFC into their devices to make it really a good performance and a good experience development, and the overall ecosystem needs to accept it. We talk with banks, we're talking with credit card companies, we're talking with merchants. All these are probably not always the first ones to jump for new technologies, and they need to be convinced, and we all need to be capable to really pull the lever and make the best out of this new technology, which is actually, in the end, a really, really breakthrough technology for many of the users.
So there's two aspects of NFC, right? There's the NFC, and then there's the whole security part. That's not the same place. It's not, the antenna doesn't need to be secure by itself, or does it also need to be secure? The connection thing.
Fortunately enough, the engineers of various standardization organizations and technology companies have done a very good job at defining all the bits and pieces you need here. So, for example, we have a very secure connection between this NFC radio technology piece in the mobile phone and, for example, the SIM card, which we as an operator would make available to others, to many others. So there is even one wire that they define to be there in the hardware that connects these two, so that no piece of software, no virus, nothing can get in between and try to spy on your transaction, spy on your PIN or whatever.
The only way is to actually open up the phone and install a little chip between the two cables.
Yes, and that's without the owner knowing. Yeah. Because usually you as the owner want to be protected. You don't want to make the thing disprotected, because you would be the only one to suffer.
So if you buy the phone at the store, you can trust that it's probably not hacked. I mean, it's a real phone. It's from a brand. Here's Samsung, for example. Well, it's 100% secure, no? Is it 100% or not?
Well, actually, what you need to understand about security in this context is the end-to-end security aspect. So basically, the piece of software that is being hosted by the SIM card is issued by the one who makes the transaction possible, for example, your bank. And that piece of software communicates with whoever provides the service somewhere. And in between, whether there's someone who kind of eavesdrops or does whatever, he can never read what's being transferred. He can never manipulate without it being detected. That's the nature of end-to-end security, and this is what we can enable with that.
It's 128-bit encryption?
I can't tell actually. Sorry, I don't know this actually, because it depends on what you're using in your actual application. So it's a framework, and in that framework you can fit, for example, the same smart card code that the credit card companies are putting into plastic cards these days. So if you've got a plastic card that also takes NFC functionality with it, you can take the code from the smart card chip onto the SIM card, and it works there. So it's up to the issuer to decide what kind of key size they want to use, what kind of mechanisms they want to implement.
But every time you want to add a secure application on your phone, you need to get a new SIM card, or can you just download software to the SIM card?
There is a secure channel that every operator has to his own SIM card, and there is a pretty complex setup defined by the sets of specifications put out by the GSMA that makes sure that only specifically authorized instances allowed to write applications onto the SIM. But this can be done dynamically. This is the so-called over-the-air provisioning, and it can be done on the fly, so it will always be possible to add new cards, new tickets or whatever to your SIM card, even if they require high security. And that's agreed among operators and banking institutions alike.
So this is Deutsche Telekom's solution. It's not the whole world that's using this solution.
We hope they would, because basically we are not so much the ones who develop the solution. As I said, we are R&D. What we're doing here is we're driving forward the idea of a digital wallet. We know that the capabilities of our companies, like the companies that are with us in the market and all over the world, are very well present to make it a real good experience and to make it an open platform. And this is what we're propagating, because nobody will win if we try to build tiny little solutions and the end user in the end has 10 different wallets with 15 different payment services. That just won't work. What we want to see is one wallet. We want to make it very open, and we want to see, if you will, hundreds of different payment methods. If they all differ, if they are all relevant to the end users, this is what we want to see. We want to see a blooming ecosystem.
For example, there's the ARM Trust Zone, which is in the hardware. It's not in the SIM card, right? And this solution is only through the SIM card. Is that because Deutsche Telekom likes using the SIM card, or could it also be in the hardware of the actual phone?
In principle, nothing speaks against using other secure elements. The SIM card has a big advantage because it sits in every GSM-based phone. So it's not a special phone, and the phone doesn't get any more expensive by it. So if your provider decides to give you a wallet and they give you a SIM card, which they have to give to you anyway, it's supported automatically. So this is why we automatically go for it. In principle, you could go for any other kind of hardware. We have currently not done much work in this, but we are looking forward to, for example, also supporting a similar scheme on the PC. A PC might not have a SIM card. Some have, but this might not be the case in many PCs. So we could use, for example, the Trusted Platform module that is built into many of these PCs. And the thing that we want to make sure is that the framework, the software framework, is always the same. It always feels the same, but we want to make use of whatever security hardware is there.
But you say it works with any GSM phone, but not every GSM phone has NFC. And also, if you want to show something on the screen, and the user should be able to trust that it's the real app, not a copy of the bank or something, you know? And for that you need like a light on the side, or you need some hardware that actually supports that, no?
There are a couple of things that you're mentioning. One is, of course, not all the phones today have NFC, but look at how long it took for just about every phone to have a camera on it, or to have Bluetooth built in. And NFC promises so much convenience and security. It's pretty clear. Within a few years, we'll have that in almost all of the phones. The other thing is about the security, hardware security and so on. There are definitely a few loopholes. There are gaps in the security model that are caused by what phones are basically today. They are still much, much better, more secure than even your leather wallet that you have with you. They give you much more control over than you have with plastic cards today. But there's still some work to do, which is a good thing because we are R&D people and we still want to do R&D in the next years.
So let's see what you do here. What is the demo?
Hey, can you do the demo?
Yes, okay, please.
Okay.
The first part of the demo is when you want to look at the wallet itself, you organize the different cards in categories, so for payment, loyalty, and so on. So when we go to the payment part, then we have installed 3 of them. When you go to loyalty, we have such a so-called sticker part. Means when you do a payment action, price things, then you get a loyalty point. So on. When we go to such a store, in our case, Morris Food and Wine, and I'm Mr. Morris, and you buy some things, then in the easiest way, say pay, and you have to go to payment within the wallet. Choose your preferred payment card. Look if you want to say, I want to realize coupons, or if you want to collect coupons, and say send, and put it down to the cashier. That's it.
That's it.
It's paid, and you get a receipt.
Nice. Cool. So this app is a prototype.
That's a prototype, yes.
It's on Android.
This is on Android, yes.
Can you give me the APK? A copy of the app. No, I'm joking. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. Cool.